So today we have a special resource person joining with us, and she's Yolanda Gunavijaya, who is the managing director of the Bottom Line, which was established in 2008, who's having years of experience and qualified staff attending mainly for weddings, corporate events, and parties. So under the Bottom Line group, she stands the sister companies under the name of Wedding Planner Sri Lanka, Gold Weddings, and chain of saloons under the name Waxed Colombo. So without further ado, I would like to invite our special guest to carry out the session. Over to you, Ms. Yolanda Gunavijaya.
Hi, thank you. Good evening. Thanks for having me over as a speaker for y'all. I'm Yolanda Gunavijaya and the owner and the founder of Bottom Line. We started Bottom Line in actually 2006, though I say 2008, without registering the company initially, but thereafter we followed and registered. So that's why we say 2008. So I think I don't need to give much of an introduction about myself because I realized that you all already given it. So anyway, let's get into the point of wedding planning. And let's see where and how we can do wedding planning and how we can be of assistance, how I can be of assistance and help to y'all. So anyway, when you talk about wedding planning, a lot of people freak out sometimes saying, oh, wedding planner, that's too expensive. Or wedding planner, oh, you know what, we can do it at home. We can do it, our family can do it for us. Hello. Hi.
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear me, no? Right, sorry.
Yeah.
So most people feel that, you know, very, because first of all, in Sri Lanka, wedding planning is not still something that is like a very important thing when it comes to family weddings or whatever it is. People think, you know, that they can organize a wedding by themselves and it will be all okay. And a wedding planner is too costly, or why should we get somebody else? My sister can do it. My brother can do it. My cousin can do it. But actually, when we really look at wedding planners, you have to have a professional wedding planner with something that is called qualifications, knowledge, understanding about the industry. So before I get into the points of what we are supposed to be talking about today, I want to just emphasize on those points. Always remember, when you are hiring a wedding planner, the wedding planner has to, first of all, have a good understanding in the industry with knowledge of what she's doing. I mean, sometimes people tend to see that, oh, you know what, we don't need a wedding planner, we can do it ourselves. But really, no. The wedding planner has a good understanding and a good relationship with the hotel, with the suppliers, vendors, florists, so on and so forth. And the wedding planners sometimes, now we as wedding planners, actually, we tend to get little discounts, which we in return offer to our clients. So you save when you have a wedding planner, because the wedding planner sometimes, or most of the time, I would say, knows the prices actually in the market. Where else you might think, you know, why are we going to spend that money? We can save that money. So there comes to play where the wedding planner is required. Anyway, so today what we are going to touch on with wedding planning is a few points, and I will kickstart this in by introducing to you a few things that we are going to talk about. So we're going to start off initially with application of project management to the conception, right? So when we say application of project management to the conception and development of small or large scale personal businesses. So basically that's where we come into play as a wedding planner. In this sense, what we are talking about is large or small scale events. It can be any kind of event where an event manager is required. Now, an event manager and a wedding planner has a slight different thing. So always remember, sometimes an event manager might not have all the nitty-gritty details like a wedding planner. Keep that in mind at any given point. Saying that, I would like to say, like, basically, one second. So basically, oops, I lost my points. Sorry. So wedding planning is a very intimate, personal kind of a event. Where else, if you look at, conferences, ceremonies, formal parties, conventions, that is where an event planner comes into play. So don't mix yourself with the wedding planner and an event manager. I personally started off my business as a wedding planner and as an event manager, and went into wedding planning when Sri Lanka did not have wedding planners. That's the reason I introduced wedding planning into the market, because we didn't have wedding planners. So keep that always in mind, that there is two differences. You can't do wedding planning and event management. You cannot hire an event manager to do your wedding planning unless you want a basic coordination. A wedding planner should be somebody who has the knowledge of themes, concepts, designing for your wedding. And that's where we come into play. So let's talk about in planning an event or your wedding, how you will identify and set an objective that will support your ultimate goal. So basically, supporting your ultimate goal, that's something that we need to actually figure out within us. Like, let's say the couple needs to figure out, okay, what are my goals? What's my objective for my wedding? That's the first step. When we talk of objectives, I would say most couples, I always talk to them and tell them, listen, have an objective. What is your priority? What do you want to serve? What do you want to spend? Because that's very important. Depends on what you want to spend for your wedding is your main objective, and how you want to have your wedding. Because some people have a very small budget, and I understand as a wedding planner that, with present times, we need to actually cut short and do less. But saying that, at the same time, I would say that basically cutting cost or minimizing your number of guests. So it's better at the end of the day to always minimize the number of your guests than cutting cost and cutting corners and having a bad wedding. When I say a bad wedding, I don't mean like an ugly wedding. What I'm trying to say is a wedding that's like, not up to standard or not up to what you would expect it to be. Hi, am I losing you at some point? Hello?
Hello, Ms. Yolanda. I think we have lost your visuals. If it's possible, can you please switch on your video?
My video is on. I'm just not seeing you.
I see. I mean, we can hear you, but we can't see you, even though you say that your video is switched on.
Yeah, okay. Let me see whether
yeah, no worries.
1 minute, please.
Yeah.
Now has it come
on? Yeah. No, okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. My apologies.
Yeah, you may proceed. It's okay.
Okay. So, do you want me to go back on everything, or can I
no,
just continue?
You can just start from where you paused.
Okay. So basically, like I said to you, the difference of, having an objective in terms of an objective at your wedding. That's something that we need to actually focus on, is how much we want to spend and how much we want, to have at the wedding. That's the main thing, right? So if it's a wedding or a family intimate function, you have to think about it and try to focus on that point. Then with regards to your goals and objectives in place, you can create a scope. So in that scope, basically what you can do is you can offer like your key details, right? So when I say key details, like what is the important thing for your wedding? Is it venue and food? Is it food and overall deco? Or is it music, overall deco, and everything that comes with it? So these are your primary objectives that you need to, fix with the wedding. What we can do is after this finishes, I think if you have a Q&A, I will answer your questions and maybe give you more clarity into this. How much time do we have on this session? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hi, Ms. Yolanda. Yes, I think we have around 1 hour.
Okay,
it's
fine.
okay. Like you can like proceed. It's fine.
Okay. So I know, because like I would prefer to do a Q&A after this so that they can ask me questions and I can
sure. We'll
answer
be
them.
having
That's
a Q&A session separately after the end of the discussion. Okay.
Okay, done. Thank you. So try to, figure out, sorry, I'm picking up from where I stopped. So basically what we need to mainly do is to see what are our objectives, what are our priorities in terms of, what we need at our wedding. So let's say selecting different service providers. That's a vital key in wedding planning, right? Because selecting the different service providers and also venues. Now, talking of venues need to be venues that are within our budget. So when we say venues within our budget, I mean, everybody has a certain amount or a fixed amount that they would want to spend at their function or at their wedding. In that sense, you need to, select your providers, service providers, and your venue, and first shortlist. What you need to first do is always remember, my personal experience is, first thing is see how much you want to spend before you go into anything. Because I personally think we should not get married and be in debt, right? It's better to have a small wedding and live happily ever after than, be in debt. So keep that in mind. This is a piece of advice I gave you in the middle of this. So whoever of you are interested and planning on getting married in the future, keep that in mind. Then let's also go into ensuring to compare and contrast quotes between our vendors. When I say between our vendors, always remember to take quotes from different vendors. Take quotations from different vendors where you will have an idea how much each person is. Then you go with checking the quality of those vendors. Check the quality. So take at least minimum 3 quotes. I always say take 3 quotes. But when you take 3 quotes, keep in mind, each vendor is different from the other. And each vendor, as good as they can be, if you are paying them and you're putting them on a tight budget, they will always drop a bit of standard. So keep that in mind when you are planning your wedding or when you're taking quotations from vendors. Don't expect the stars and the moon. So once you have shortlisted your vendors, and then prior to confirming with payments, try to see like whether you can, first of all, have a good rapport, a good understanding with your vendors. Always build up an understanding and a friendship and trust within you and your vendor. That's very important, because I mean, if you have that, your vendor will go all the way to help you. I know lots of wedding vendors in the market in Sri Lanka that are really good and that are really, really helpful when it comes to a wedding. I mean, most of the vendors, they do weddings as if though they are getting married every time. So that's a good thing in Sri Lanka, is because, I mean, we believe that, api I can't forget, I can't remember this Sinhalese term. අපි මේ එයාලට සුබ පත්වන්න ඕන හොඳ විදිහකින් කියන දේ තියෙනවා. ඒ හින්දා ඒක මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ. ඒක very very important. ඉතින් ඒ හින්දා client එක්ක මේ supplier එක බැඳුම තියාගන්න. ඒ friendship එකක් develop කරන්න ඕනේ supplier එක්ක. එතකොට මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ qualities are necessary in everything. Okay, so keep that always available and be flexible with your vendor. Always be flexible. Sometimes your vendor might say ane mata ada meka karanna bෑ ඔයාට මට බැරි වුණා sketches දෙන්න මට අරක කරන්න බැරි වුණාට quotation එකක් දෙන්න බැරි වුණා. ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් තේරුම් ගන්න. ඒ හින්දා wedding planning කියන දෙයට මම bestමති idea එක ඔයාලා wedding එකක් plan කරනවා නම් ටිකක් අන්තිම මාස දෙක තුනෙන් ඉන්නේ නැතු. එතකොට පොඩ්ඩක් එක difficult suppliers ලාට ඔයාලට ඕන විදිහට වැඩවල් කරන්න. ඒ හින්දා කලින් ටිකක් කලින් බලන්න ඒක plan කරන්න. බැරිම වුණොත් ඉතින් ඒක second option එක, but mostly try to be like beforehand, try to plan it and be flexible with them. Coming to our following point, okay, loyalty and open-mindedness is highly essential to approach and search for good service providers. So when you are looking at, a good service provider, obviously you have to have that thing called, loyalty. And that is very important. Loyalty is not only important from your end, remember that. Loyalty is also important from the vendor's side also. So that is something that we need to always keep in mind. Am I talking to myself?
No, I think the same thing happened like the last time.
Okay.
Yeah, give me a second. I'll just.
Okay. Here we go. Okay. So it's highly essential to approach. It's highly essential to approach and search for providers that are able to work with you, who have your free days. Keep that in mind also. Always find out whether your vendors that you pick and choose are able to work with you. Are they like mind, like you? Those are little things that we need to go into when we are planning our wedding. Like just because somebody says, for an example, okay, somebody gives you a quotation for floral for 500,000 and the same thing some other vendor you show, and then they say, oh, make 1,50,000 වලට මට කරන්න පුළුවන්. Don't think that, right, that other vendor is not good, this vendor is good because they gave me a low price. No, always remember it's the same. If you are showing the same picture to the another vendor and asking them and they are saying they can do it for 1,50,000, there is something there. So be smart and remember, I'm not undercutting anybody here. I'm just telling you the reality of the industry and how people operate and think. You might not get that quality that the person who's asking you for 500,000 with the same quality that the person is paying 150,000. Now the person you are paying 150,000 will sometimes send you around town in circles. You might have that. You might not get what you want on your day. So be very smart that you are always in communication with your provider and you understand them. More than them understanding you, you need to understand them and be very clear cut with your work ethic. That's the most important thing. Build up friendship, build up an understanding and, a good repertoire with your service providers, but also be very ethical in your work, because if you're ethical with your suppliers, they know there is no hanky-panky with you. So keep that in mind. Then when it comes to the time and finance and, managing the whole event. So that's something you need to keep in mind, because you need to give your suppliers, service providers a timeline. Let's say you don't have a wedding planner, then you need to give them a timeline. If you have a wedding planner, obviously your wedding planner will come up with a specific timeline and will know the role that they have to play as an event planner is to mainly wireless planning, also to be coordinating with your service providers and communicating and bringing that same message back to you so that it puts you in comfort. When I say you in comfort, the whole idea of a wedding planner is to make you feel comfortable, to make you feel relieved and stress-free. That's the whole idea of a wedding. A wedding planner takes all you and the groom and your family pressure on that day and ahead of time off you. So for that, everything is important that, we communicate with each other and we take the pressure off you. And that role is played mainly by us. So basically, it's like your responsibilities come to us as wedding planners. That's basically what's really happening. Try to work around the, budget planning of the client, with your provider. Like when I say budget planning, like try to see whether, you can have like a strategy where you can break it down. Like most of the time, we as wedding planners, we make Excel sheets and we break down the payment. So I always say, especially when it comes to floral, I always break down the cost of the, let's say like the initial deposit, then the second payment, then the third payment. With the third payment, I always advise the supplier that we need to highlight and show minimum a mock-up table decoration to the client. When we show a mock-up table decoration to the client, and if there is any shortfall, we can only give them sketches for the rest of it. But the only thing that, really matters is that we can give them an idea of what they are getting on that day. So for that reason, we say mock-up, give a mock-up to the client, and then the client finds the shortfall. Let's say sometimes the colors don't blend in. So, okay, we need to fix the colors. Let's say the floral is less flowers. We need to fix that. Like there are lots of things that we can fix and put to it. So that's again, mostly it comes into play with the wedding planner, but there are a lot of people out there who are also capable in some ways to do things. I won't say that everybody cannot do it. There are people who can do it. And I personally, say that if you have a little bit more knowledge, yes, you can. Of course, we have as wedding planners studied the subject, educated ourselves. So it does help us more, but you can also do it. Don't ever feel that you. In the early planning process, always, first of all, try to set the target. Like I said, the target is very, very, very important. How you can secure the payments, right? Then when you come to the payments scheme, remember, like I said to you, that you need to break it down. So when you come to the third payment, sketches and a mock-up. Fourth payment, try if you can, as a wedding planner, I would say, try if you can to give the fourth payment on the day of the wedding, or even if they can, after they can set up. If you have a wedding planner, you can give the wedding planner that final payment to make for you, because that way basically the supplier knows they have to deliver quality to you. At the same time, you are not going to get a raw deal. You'll get a better deal because the supplier always has in the back of their mind that, we might not get our last payment. So these are little tricks in the book I am talking to you about. And that's basically so that my client, I always do that because I want my client to feel safe. That's basically it. Just give me a second, please. Hello, sorry. So when it comes to wedding planning, like, you all have said, timeline and finance management with wedding planning. Okay. Those were some of the topics we had. Yes. So for a non-profit event, it is different to any less important than one more combined with aims, objectives. So when I say aims and objectives, I'm talking about an event that's like a wedding. So we should basically always keep in mind that a wedding planner can always come up with different options for you, different payment schemes, different venues, because always remember the wedding planner has always got contact with the hotels, with the service providers, and so on. So remember that sometimes the wedding planner might get a better deal than you. Always keep that in mind. But saying that if you have influence, if you have contact with other vendors or with hotels, you might sometimes be able to get a better discount than the wedding planner. Yes, it does happen like that. But keep always in mind, keep a broad margin. Be very open-minded with service providers and how you are going to do things. I'll just give you a bit of insight in terms of weddings and things that can go wrong also, because that will be something that you can always take with you. So see, when you are planning a wedding, remember the agenda, right? So when we do a wedding planner normally does an agenda. Sometimes nowadays brides also, I see they also do agendas if they don't have anybody to help them. So we as a wedding planner, we have an agenda, and I am very specific when it comes to the Buddhist Porva function or the Tamil function where they have the marvar, we call it the mandap in Hindi. Those functions sometimes go in auspicious time. So I always say that if we cannot follow the timeline and the auspicious time for the bridegroom to come in, for the bride to be brought in, and for that Porva Nagina Vilava, that time, that is very vital. So a wedding planner actually has a vital role to play in that, because she or he will always make sure that that's their responsibility to get that bride, that groom in there on time, the bride on time, and to make sure that, the person who is doing the ashtaka, that he gets the couple on time and gets them off the poro, because some families have the thing of the bride getting down also to an auspicious time. So in that sense, the wedding planner is always there to assist, to guide. Now, that's one part of the agenda. Then you will look at, okay, so I will just give you a few points on how it goes. Okay, so we initially as a wedding planner, what we do is when we make the agenda, we start off by what time the bride is getting ready. So we know exactly, okay, most morning weddings, if it's a Poro ceremony, 90% is morning weddings. Then the bride is getting ready the previous day by 3 in the morning or 2 in the morning, or sometimes even 12 midnight. In that sense, we make sure that we check the bride into the room, the respective hotel. If they give us access, we check the bride in there. And that agenda starts from 12 midnight. So the bride is getting ready. Then what time the dresser is going to come? Because sometimes the bride is in the hotel, but the dresser comes from far. Sometimes the bride goes to the dresser. All those things, those details go into the agenda. What time is the photo session? What time are they going to put the thalle? What time will the mother be there for the bride to have that? Or if it's a face veil, what time will the face veil be put? These things. Then we go into photo session. Where are the locations the photo session will happen? Now in Sri Lankan weddings, it's a very important thing that we have a pre-shoot and on the day of photo shoot, and then the couple sees each other, they get onto the porva. But in other foreign countries, they don't have that. They don't have that pre-shoot. They don't have that shoot beforehand also. Most couples go straight into the ceremony pictures and then followed by, other pictures. So it varies from client to client when it comes to making the agenda. But I'll just give you all the points for a Sri Lankan local wedding, a Buddhist wedding. And then I will also give you the points for a Christian wedding. So in that sense, once we do all of that, then we check what time the photographer is going to come in. What time will the deco be started in the ballroom? What time will the Ashtaka person come with all his supplies to start on the Ashtaka? What time will the dancers be there? Then goes into the pre-shoot has happened in the meantime while we are getting all of this ready in the hotel. Then comes to play with regards to the groom coming to the porwa. So at that point in that agenda, we will make it a point to make sure that the dancers are ready for the groom's arrival, and escorted up the dancers, escort the groom up to the porwa. Then comes the bride. So the bride is always kept ready like 5 to 10 minutes distance so that she can be brought in no sooner the groom is brought in to the porwa. Saying that we also make sure that the bride's family is there to welcome the groom's family. And if they have that charitra where they say, for that, we make sure that we have somebody from the bride's family, like a younger brother or a cousin or whoever it is, who is there to wash the feet of the groom and make sure that that ring is there with the groom, or that piece of gold that is there to give it in return after washing the feet. Then the bride's brought into the porwa. No sooner this happens, the bride's brought into the porwa. Then starts the session. And then from that point, it's all handled with the Ashtaka, but we are there to guide them for every step of the way. Once the ceremony is over, we are there to guide them. Of course, the hotel or the wedding planner. Now, when lighting the lamp comes into consideration, it is the job of the hotel, not the job of the wedding planner. Most people want the wedding planner to do that, but no, the wedding planner is not a steward in the hotel. So the wedding planner will guide the hotel steward or the captain to keep somebody ready and stand by there so that they can assist them in lighting the oil lamp. So then it comes to cutting the cake. The wedding planner will play a vital role there because he or she should set the retinue of the couple in such a way that pictures can be taken and that they will be nice pictures, because sometimes retinue tends to get a bit distracted because they see their friends and they're like, that one's there, this one's there. So they forget that they are on a duty and a role. So in that sense, what happens is that the wedding planner should take the responsibility to make sure that they're all, at attention for those pictures. Then when it comes to the champagne fountain, now people like to have champagne fountain. So that sense, people will, again, we have to have the hotel ready, not the wedding planner, but the hotel ready for the champagne fountain so that he can give the bottle to the groom and the couple to pop the champagne bottle and pour it. That's something that is a responsibility of the hotel. Then coming to the couple going to their either settee bag or head table. Then the head table means the retinue joins the couple to the head table, or the settee bag, the retinue goes to the head table and the couple goes to the settee bag. Then in Sinhalese Buddhist weddings, we have this thing where we, I don't know the term of it, but we give a glass of water with pichamal in it, where we aradhana karanawa to the kamamese. So that's something again that the wedding planner needs to be on point, because depending on what time food is open, that needs to happen. So before that happens, ideally to make less of a crowd or a rush at the buffet table, what I recommend always is the couple goes and the retinue goes and starts serving, and then we give the glass of water to the mother or the elder who is there to aradhana karana the groom's side. So that's there. Then we come to, if there is going away changes, we have to be there to make sure that those changes happen on time, that the couple is brought back on time. If there is no changes, then what we do is at the going away time, the wedding planner is responsible to get the car ready to make sure that the floral decor is put on the car and everything is set and ready for the going away. I personally, as a wedding planner, what I do is I always make sure that, because Sinhalese culture, we have some charitra that we follow. So I always discuss with the photographer, and I tell the photographer that, okay, ammalata අම්මලා තාත්තලා වැඩි හිටියන්ට වඳින ඒවා ආශිර්වාද ගන්න ඒවා ටික අපි ගන්න ඕනේ කලින් මේ මොකද එළියට බහින්න නැකතක් තියෙනවා. ඒතකොට ඒ නැකතට යන්න අපි ඒ ටික අඩුම ගාන විනාඩි 30කට කලින් ගන්න ඕනේ. මොකද වෙඩින් එකක් අන්තිම හරියේදී සමහර අය බීලා බ්‍රයිඩ්ලට ගෲම්ලට මේ අදිනවා ඩාන්ස් ෆ්ලෝ එකට. ඒතකොට ඒවා කෙරෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒතකොට ඒවා කෙරෙන්නේ නැති වුණාම අන්තිමට වෙන්නේ ආශිර්වාදයක් නැතුව එළියට බහිනවා නැත්නම් යන නැකත පරක්කු වෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒවා වලින් බලක්වන්න මම විනාඩි 30කට කලින් තමයි ඇඩ්වයිස් කරන්නේ අපි going away එක ස්ටාර්ට් කරන්න ඕනේ. මොකද ෆොටෝග්‍රාෆර් ඒ පික්චර්ස් ටික අරගෙන එතකොට අර other people can enjoy in the meantime, and then they can, couple can rejoin even the dance floor. So keep that in mind. Then that's basically a Buddhist wedding. Then when we go to a Christian wedding is very different to a Buddhist wedding, because ideally the Christian wedding, the groom and bride should, nowadays it's a little different, but normally the Christian wedding, the bride and groom should not see each other till they meet in church or at the ceremony point. Well, people like to go for pre-shoot, but honestly, it's not acceptable. Pre-shoot is not acceptable. The whole idea of wedding is that it's a surprise on that day for each other to, see. That's why now if you see a lot of people are doing that first look photo for that reason. So coming to that, I would say that that's a very different thing. We also do weddings like destination weddings. I do a lot of destination Indian weddings. And the whole concept of a destination Indian wedding is different, completely different to a Sri Lankan wedding. So, I mean, it's more fun, it's more outgoing and whatever it is, but yeah, there are different things, and there is a lot more cost involved in a destination wedding. Saying that, I think I touched on most of my points that I wanted to discuss with you all. I would say that ideally, if you have any questions, pop those questions to me and I will answer them and try as much as possible to be of assistance and help to you. Thank you.
A very informative session, Ms. Yolanda. So everyone, so now it is the time for you to speak up on any questions and queries that we have. So you can kindly unmute yourselves and raise the questions. And also, if you are able to forward any, if you want to ask any questions, you can use the chat option as well. So we welcome all of you to make use of this precious time. Okay, I think we have a question. So they have asked us how to plan your wedding event with the prevailing financial crisis in Sri Lanka. That is one of the most profound questions.
Okay.
Very important.
So, yes, very vital and very good question actually. Yes, yeah. Thank you very much. So basically, I personally recommend that in a situation like this, make it an intimate wedding, a very small number of guests. I know some of us have mamas, mothers, family, brothers, family, this one's family, but try to make it as intimate as possible. That way, you can do one thing. You can have a ceremony and a breakfast buffet or something and have all your guests and end it up there. Because honestly speaking, hotel rates are going up by the day. I think the minimum is like a 7,000 rupees. So in those sense, I say cut down on your guest. Get who is more important to you. Try to avoid the bridesmaids and the bride bestmans and the flower girls and the page boys. These are all ways you can cut your cost. Even if you are having a grand wedding, you can have one bridesmaid and one bestman and keep it minimum. Keep everything minimum. Don't go over the top because it is a very, very crucial time. I, as a wedding planner, see it and I understand very well. Minimize everything at every given way. Your guest list, bring it down. Don't invite every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Sometimes I say this to parents. I know y'all are the younger generation here. And I believe personally, our moms and dads, or your moms and dads, would like to invite everybody, the neighborhood, to everybody they meet. But you don't know them. So you see them at the wedding for the very first time. Now, those, in that sense, okay, you have to be nice and tactful with your family and your parents, but those people are actually not required for your wedding, right? So in this day and age, cut down on your guest list. That's the first thing. Budget your wedding and say, let's say, okay, you want to have it. I'm just talking on weddings you can do by yourself, right?
Yeah.
So you budget your wedding in such a way that I'm going to cut down my guest list. My guest list is going to be not more than 50 or 100 or 150 max, right? Then you go for a very simple, elegant, intimate concept. Remember those three words: simple, elegant, intimate concept. 3 words, right? Keep that in mind and work on those lines. Do a budget and say, this is my budget. This is how much I'm going to spend. I'm not going to waste. Your sari, let that be elegant because that's your day, right? Go for a good photographer because those pictures are what's going to take you for the rest of your life. Then your menu, have a nice, simple menu. I always recommend, because in Sri Lanka, we don't do it. We want to go for buffet lunch, buffet dinner, or something like that. Go for a breakfast menu. Have a breakfast party. Go for you can have a wedding and have a high tea menu, right? These are things that we can be more innovative and start. I have been trying to do this with my clients and tell them, one of my clients, actually, she did a breakfast menu. In terms of florals, go for minimum. Earlier, we used to say Nelumal is cheap, but no, Nelumal is also not cheap now. So go for something that is very simple, not over the top, but something that's nice and elegant and something you will feel, you're happy about. So these are the ways you can cut cost. If it's a cake, don't go for those big cakes. Go for a small 2-tier cake. When it comes to giving cake pieces, don't give cake pieces. You can give a piece of brownie, a piece of cupcake, to, some sweets, to Geo Heart, something different that they can take home. Because everybody doesn't want to take cake now. Everybody has diabetes, sugar, this, that. So you can cut cost on that. Without going for printed invitations, right? Go for an e-invitation, right? These are little ways you can cut your cost. Even photographers, tell your photographer, I want 2 photographers, not more than that. Making an album. Okay, so these are things that I always say, take it on a CD. Do it on a later day by printing your pictures when you have enough and more money to, spend. But you can have your picture still on a CD. So that way you will also save, right? I'm thinking of all the more ways I can give you so that, it will be more helpful. Then when it goes to dressing up, getting dressed, whoever is your bridal dresser, speak to her or him and get a good package with them. But remember, where you will save is your guest list, your cake. Don't go for the over the tops. Get an edible cake. Another thing in Sri Lanka is that a lot of us go for this dummy, big 3-4 story cakes. No, try to go for an edible, small, structured cake. That way you will not throw it away. You will not waste your money. The edible cake, you can always cut it and serve it at the wedding. Or you can use it, eat it later on. That's your choice. But like these are things you can cut. So your guest list, your invitations, your cake, your giveaways, or your wedding cake or whatever it is, you can cut cost on that. You can, your photographs, you can get it on a CD and get it printed on a later date. So these little things you can cut cost, but your most important thing is keep in mind your guest list. Minimize your guest list. Have those people you want to have at your wedding and those people you will enjoy.
Yes, thank
I
you.
hope I answered that very, very clearly to you.
So we have another few questions. So one is, one has asked, when you have a one-day night function, so how are you going to tackle that? I mean, like as a person who has a client. Yes.
Come again.
Yeah. So he or she has asked that how to do a one-day night function if you want to have a one-day, night function. So
You
your special day.
You're asking me as a wedding planner or as a client?
I think in both perspectives, I would say. So as a client, I think that is better if you like give a sort of answer like that.
Yeah. So if it's a one-day function, it's very simple. It's very, very clear. You basically, you need to have your venue, whatever it is, your time frame, it needs to be there. Most hotels or city hotels close their doors by 11:30 to 12 is the final this thing of their time. All this depends on what your function is. Now, if you're talking of a wedding reception, you have your ballroom or your hall from 6 in the evening to 11:30 in the night. 12 o'clock is the last. I think after that, they charge you for every hour.
Yes.
So basically, that's more or less. If I am looking at it as a wedding planner, and I'm answering you this question, I need to be able to give my max to my client as a wedding planner. So if my client wants to go after 12 in the night, I will sit there and wait till my client's ready. If so long as they are willing to pay for the hotel, I'm willing to work.
Okay. So we have another question in the chat. So that is, on which basis the wedding packages differ? That is the question.
Okay. Good question. So basically the packages differ. I, as a wedding planner, I have introduced a package called a day coordination. So mine is a weekend day coordination because I like to take the wedding a few weeks or a month or two ahead of time, right? For the day coordination. So in this day coordination, what happens is the client will book everything and come to me as the coordinator wedding planner to coordinate their wedding. So I take over from that point and I meet their suppliers, get a clear vision what the couple is wanting, what their decor is, what colors, what it looks like. I go through their sketches to make sure that I am clear with every detail my client wants. Now that is for a day weekend coordination. Then we have a partial coordination. The partial coordination comes into play when the client, now this is mainly the partial coordination comes with people who are working ladies or gents. They book half of the wedding, their vendors and suppliers, and they think, oh no, I can't do it. It's too much of stress and too much of headache to deal with these people. Then it comes into play where the wedding planner gets this job and we are hired to handle it from that point. So from that point, it depends. Like some clients, they can't handle the florists. They get really frustrated and irritated, or they can't deal with the photographers or the musician or the hotel. So they book A, B, C, D of their function and they give us D, F, G, H, I, J to handle. Again, we will take a clear understanding from the client of what they have already booked, what they have paid for, how much is balance, what are the suppliers needed, what the supplier is providing, what is what. Every detail, and we carry on from that point up to the end of the wedding. Then we have a full wedding planning package. Now in this full wedding planning package, let's say today you have called me and you have had a discussion and you are asking me about planning your wedding. So from that very point that I am talking to you about your wedding is a full wedding planning package. I will talk to you and understand what you, first of all, I always ask the clients what they do, what is their job, like what's their profession, what is their background, what are their likings, what are their favorite colors, what are their favorite flowers, right? When did they meet? How was the proposal? All these little things have a lot to do with the full wedding planning package. From that point onwards, if the client says, okay, some clients say, no, we want this, and they show us pictures. Some clients say, no, we want you to design the wedding. So then we design the wedding based on all these questions I have asked them. Their favorite flowers, where they met, how they met, what's like, A to Z of their little bit of their history, not being forward or nosy, just a little bit of their history to put their wedding into perspective the way they want it. And we start designing and creating their wedding based on the venue they want to select. Some clients who live overseas, they give us to handle the booking of the venue and A to Z. They don't even know. Some clients only turn up on the day of the wedding and they only want the budget. Now, we basically coordinate this A to Z, and on that day, we are there right throughout with the groom, with the bride. We are there to guide them. Even when the photo session, even when the bride is being dressed, we keep visiting the room on and off to make sure the bride is comfortable, everything is there. And all the day coordination services also get included in the partial and the full wedding coordination. Then 3 months after the wedding, we are still available to make sure that we get the photographs from the photographer and are okay to send it and hand it over to the couple. So basically, it is before the wedding at the moment they speak, and 3 months after the wedding, we are still providing their services to the couple. We have, when we do weddings, these are few secrets, so I'm not going to give you details, but I'll just tell you, we have in our services an RSVP follow-up. We have a service where we do an alcohol security. These little services, then we have laundry services. All of this comes under the full wedding planning package. Of course, in the day and the partial also, but they are an additional cost. I hope I answered you right.
Yes,
I hope I answered you.
Yeah, it was up to the point, I would say. So we have another very timely question. So it is being asked that when some businesses fail, like let's assume that when the wedding is near, like, there's this recent situation which a very popular, very famous hotel got burned down. And then things like that, when a hotel burns, what can be done for that, and the process of, assigning another hotel likewise?
Okay, that's some situation I have seen in the last 3 weeks that, yes, Avendra and Grandiza had a bad show. And a lot of people, yes, because those particular 2 hotels that got burned down were hotels that offered fairly decent packages. And it really would hit or have a crunch on the pockets of some people, because, if they are going to look at other hotels, they were going to be more costly. In that sense, what I would do as a hotel owner, I would say, is I would personally make sure that I have 2 or 3 options in mind within that budget that the client paid me as the owner of the hotel or as the banquet officer, to be able to tell my client, listen, we are refunding your money, but this is your option. Option 1, option 2, option 3. Like for an example, let's say Nigambo, right? So we should be able to give our client as a hotel brand 3 options to say, you can use one of these 3 options. They are in the same budget with us. Then as a client, we should always be with an open mind, because anything can happen at any given time, right? So we should be with an open mind that if option 1 fails, we have option 2 as a fallback. But saying that, what happened this time was a very, very bad situation, because lots of brides were disappointed because it was a Nakat day. The month of May in Sri Lanka is a very auspicious month. So a Nakat දවස් වලට ඒ වෙච්ච වැඩේ සමහර අයට හොටෙල් හොයාගන්න බැරි වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඇත්තටම ඉස්සරහට මාස 3ටත් මේ ඇවෙන්ඩ්‍රා එකේ ග්‍රෑන්ඩ් ඩිසයින් එකේ bookings වලට hotels හොයාගන්න බෑ. ඒ couples තාම එහෙ මෙහෙ දුවනවා. ඒක ඉතින් මේ එක්කෝ ඔයාලා flexible වෙන්න ඕනේ budget එක වැඩි කරලා තව hotel එකකට switch වෙන්න. නැත්තම් flexibility එක තියෙන්න ඕනේ මේ නැකත් දවස් ටික මාරු කරගන්න. ඒ දෙකෙන් එක තමයි මට advice කරන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද ඊට එහා මට පේන්නේ නැහැ මේ තව solution එකක් මේකට.
Yes. So it's like always have a backup, so you can like kind of avoid the future disappointments. Yeah.
Yes.
So we have another question that is related to photography actually. So you know when like there are a lot of you know pre-shoots and you know post-shoots, this and that so what would be the ideal like when you are doing the photo pre-shoots and the videos whether it is very necessary or whether it is not? If so, like what kind of things you would as a client kind of you know suggest?
As a planner, I can't suggest as a client. If I were a client, I personally would not do the pre-shoot. Okay.
That was what I thought. So
okay, I just have a brief idea about my wedding, right? So you will know about it more. So I personally didn't have a pre-shoot. I told my bridal dresser, I'm giving you 2 hours to dress me, not 10 hours or 6 hours or 8 hours. Okay. So these are the things, I mean, these are my personal opinion, right? These are some of the things I think that are ruining the industry, because a bride is made to break rest a little too much. And if you really see, most of the brides, by the time they are getting onto the poro, they are half asleep or they are mentally stressed, right? But if somebody, as a photographer, I would always tell photographers, don't take 4 hours, 3 hours before wedding shoots. You want to take the important portraits, take the couple 1 hour before the wedding. That is, perfect, but not 3-4 hours. That's if I was a client. Now, as a wedding planner, it's my job, so I don't dispute it. I go with the flow. But I always try to see where we can cut down on time wasting, because I like my brides to get onto the porua fresh and happy, not tired, not sweat pouring, not dizzy, breaking rest, hungry, all of those things. So keep in mind the minimum time you can give that bride, the better output you will have of your pictures.
Yes,
Thank
exactly.
you.
Thank you. So another question. This question is like this. So what is the ideal time to start planning? So as in 1 year or 6 months before the event, likewise?
Ideally, at present, I always say the quicker you plan and the quicker you put your deposits down, the better it is. Because see, everything is changing. Prices are changing. Fuel is going up. So when fuel goes up, everything starts changing, right? The price. So ideally, what I'd recommend is going for 6 months or a year before. That way you are at ease. Your planner is more confident. If you have a wedding planner, she knows what she's doing. She's updating you, and you can have a very smooth flow into your wedding. Now, if you are, okay, let's say 6 months before you've decided, okay, I'm going to get married, right? Then, of course, I don't blame anybody for it. But then what happens is, at that time, you need to take the price and the value, market value for that time. Let's say, okay, flowers. Example being, floral is a vital factor when it comes for cost in weddings. We have budgeted, we want to spend 3 lakhs on our floral, right? So in January, 3 lakhs is okay. But when it comes to June, July, right? And let's say your wedding is next December. So this January, I'm planning for December wedding, end of the year wedding. in January, 3 lakhs might be okay. But when it comes to June, July, and we are planning for December, 3 lakhs is not enough. That price might be 5 lakhs by then. So that in that sense, I say if you want to get good cuts, good deals, book ahead, pay ahead, you are more safe. If you want to get, not that you will get raw deals. I mean, sometimes you might have to, spend little more when the time is limited, because what happens is also when you have a time crunch, the vendor knows that you are on a tight timeline, right? Rain or shine, you need to take the services.
Yeah.
You understand? So you will end up spending little bit more because you need to get it. හැබැයි අපි අවුරුද්දට කලින් බුක් කරා නම් ප්ලෑන් කරගත්තා නම් අපිට ඒ ගාන තව අඩු කරන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද අපිට ටයිම් එක තියෙනවා අතේ වෙන්ඩර්ස්ලා 10ක් ගාවට හරි යන්න. හැබැයි මාස 6ක් හරි මාස 3ක් ටයිම් එක තියෙනකොට අපේ ටයිම් එක පොඩි පොඩි දවසෙන් දවස ටයිට් වෙනවා. එහෙම වුණාම අපිට ගාන පොඩ්ඩක් අපේ වියදම වැඩි වෙනවා.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. So I think that's it for the questions we have as of now. So before winding up, we have another small request actually. So some of the people who have joined with us may, or even though they have may have missed the introduction part. So could you please tell a bit about yourself before winding up the session?
Yes, I will.
About your business and what your business purposes and other offers, if you do have, we would like to hear that.
Yeah. So basically, I don't need to introduce myself again and again. Yeah. So I'm Yolan Gunavijay, okay? I'm the owner of the Bottom Line. I started off the company with my husband together, and we were an event and travel company, and I moved into wedding planning and event management. Started in 2006 to be really precise, but registered in 2008. My education is event management. In event management, I hold a degree, a diploma and a degree also. Followed by, I used to be into dress designing and interior decorating before 2006. I'm just giving you all point forms so that you can just get fast, okay? And from there, I moved back to Sri Lanka and started event management. And I started off at Taj Samudra. My office was at Taj Samudra. And my marketing strategy was, I wanted my business to go as word of mouth. So I never advertised in books, magazines, or anything on newspapers. I always went by word of mouth, because for me, that is the best type of advertising, is word of mouth, person to person. And today I do weddings, which are family weddings repeated by one family, from one family to their next family, or from one sister. So sometimes some families I have done like 3 sisters weddings, or from one cousin to the other cousin, and that's the best type of business. I am a student of St. Lawrence's Convent, Vellavatha, and St. Paul's Milagres, where I ended my education. I'm a mom of 3 kids who are all studying in universities overseas. I personally, as a business owner, take event management staff who are with degrees or diplomas. I don't take anybody and everybody in terms of my staff. That's very important for me. And I own a salon brand called Wax Colombo. We had Wax South and Wax Colombo. We have closed Wax South because of the COVID situation, but we still run 2 salons in Colombo, under the brand name of Wax Colombo, which was my, which was my passion. But wedding planning is the thing I really, really put my heart and soul into, because that's what brings the joy to me at this moment. And in terms of wedding planning, we have 3 packages, which is very, very, very competitive in the market that we offer. I have also, as a wedding planner, started doing my own deco. So I do my own floral deco for my clients, because I find and feel that sometimes decorators charge clients in the millions. So for that reason, we have tried to make sure that, we have give our clients in this today's day and age with financial crisis we are going through, that clients can spend less on getting our services, because we will come in as your wedding planner, we will design your wedding, and we will also do your floral decor. We have 3 packages, which is the day coordination, the partial, and the full coordination. We are giving a discount to our clients, and if somebody is to book me through this Zoom call today, the Zoom session, what I would ideally say is they can give me the keyword, I think, what was it? Rotary. Yeah, it's a Rotary session, right? So
Rotaract Club of Alumni of University of Moratuwa.
Yeah, so you give me these 2 keywords as Rotaract Club of Moratuwa, and I will give whoever books me a 25% discount.
Thank you so much on behalf of the university, Rotaract Club. Yeah.
So that's basically it. Any information, anybody wants to reach out to me for any kind of help, any guidance, please feel free. You who have organized this can give my number to them and ask them to give me a personal call. I know sometimes I'm a little difficult to get through to, because I am a little bit busy trying to run, but because I have actually kept this lady also on hold for a bit of time because I was busy. But feel free to give me a call. If I don't answer your calls, drop me a message and I will most certainly help you all and guide you all.
Thank you so much. Wonderful.
So, for having me.
Oh, so yeah. So finally, we have reached the end of an amazing gathering, and it is time to conclude the session. We have been carried out for nearly 1.5 hours. So as the saying goes, every journey leads to something. So we wish you all have learned to gotten more knowledge regarding what we have talked on today. We invite and hope all of you who are interested to look up more on the content according to your likability. So thank you all once again, and thank you, Ms. Yolanda and for staying with us today and sharing more and very informative, descriptive content on wedding event planning. So thank you all once again. Have a great day. See you.
Thank you. Enjoy. Have a lovely evening. Bye.
Bye. Bye.